I want to sincerely apologise to our community and all those we serve for the recent actions of our former director, Joe Animal Smith. So yeah, for some reason Rainbow Passage is absolutely obsessed with like completely distancing themselves from Tipster. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're a bit annoyed with Tipster. I'd be like, yeah, dude, why did you bring, you literally brought all this attention onto us because of a personal beef that you had with some commentary guy that was shitting on you. Why? A little bit of tip tent to wrap things up for today. I've got some funny tip tent. Oh, no, Tipster. Okay, let me fill you in, for those of you that don't know. Bo Blacks is an autist, and Bo Blacks does these streams about Tipster. He calls them Tipster Bully streams, where he just like brings up his content, laughs, mocks him, all this stuff, okay? And as part of one of these streams, Bo Blacks mocked Tipster for his positive commentary, support, whatever you want to call it, of an organization called Rainbow Passage. Now, Rainbow Passage is this LGBT org which is set up to apparently help people get out of bad situations related to oppression for LGBT stuff, okay? And one of the things that caught Bo Black's eye and that he was mocking was this concept of a slumber party. Now, this organization, despite all of the kind of, narratives about the groomers and all this stuff, for some reason decided to call what are essentially Discord hangouts for adults slumber parties. Which to me seems like a mistake. I think you would want to avoid any child-focused language, if that's a concern, which it should be, right? So anyway, they called it a slumber party, and Bo Black's kind of mocked this, and I think that was more or less the end of it. Maybe he looked a bit around at the charity a little bit, but it wasn't anything that insane at that point, right? But then for some reason, which I think I know the reason, but basically Tipster decided to tweet out about this, right? And he called out Bo Blacks for going after Rainbow Passage and defended Rainbow Passage as having done good work. I've covered this quite a bit on my channel, and there's other channels that have spoken about it if you want to go and have a look at it, okay? So anyway, Tipster, for some reason, decided to utilize this Rainbow Passage thing to essentially hit Bo Blacks over the head, I believe because he didn't like the Tipster Bully streams, but he didn't want to just come out and say, I don't like the fact that Bo Blacks is shitting on me all the time, because he'd look like a fucking weak loser and people would shit on him for it, right? Okay? So I think the reason that he did it was because he felt that he had a reason to call him out, that he'd get support on from his side, the wokes, and he could criticize Bo Blacks in a way that didn't look like he was just being a soy loser or whatever, right? And freaking out about Bo Blacks being a bully or whatever. That backfired, of course, because, of course, Tipster bringing more attention to it, all it made people do, myself included, is look at it, pay attention to it, bit Streisand effect type-esque effect, and go, what's this all about then? Right? I didn't know fucking anything about this organization, and I looked into it a bit, and whilst I think people were quite frothing at the mouth to act like there was definitively grooming stuff going on, okay, there's definitely some fucking odd elements, and they've got designs to involve people that are 16 and 17 but don't have the legal ability to, which I find very fucking weird and potentially deeply problematic in the future. But, there was weird stuff like that. There was also the guy that ran it called Animal Smith, okay, and he had some weird public kinks that he was indulging in, including pup play. He is apparently a HIV/AIDS advocate, presumably to support people that have got AIDS in getting help, not to give it out, but who knows, okay, to be clear. I don't know one way or another, I'm just asking questions. And yeah, just an all-round kind of fucking weird guy who would publicly speak about insane topics. And, it's like people can do what they want in the privacy of their bedroom, that's my belief. But when you're like a senior board member or manager at a charity, it's fucking insane to put yourself out there like that. Like, could you imagine if you found out that the senior manager of a Red Cross type charity was into auto asphyxiation and was going on to podcasts talking about how they like to jerk off whilst they have an orange in their mouth, strangling themselves with a stocking? you'd be like, what? This is like a crazy thing to talk about when you're in this sort of position. But apparently this was all kind of fine and acceptable, and you can just talk about your kinks and be a representative at this charity. Very weird stuff. And obviously there were some people that were maybe calling for some action to be taken. My take on it was, I don't really care about the fact this guy works for this charity. It's not my business. It's not my charity. But I personally just prefer charity representatives to be a bit more buttoned down, well presented, and not doing weird shit on the internet, you know? Kind of crazy. Okay, this went backwards and forwards for a little while. The Animal Smith guy was freaking out about it, and again doing the classic claiming harassment and stuff like that, when mainly people were just looking at it, laughing, mocking, not doing anything that crazy or that bad, you know? It was mainly just looking, laughing, and mocking, right? Did end up getting featured on Kiwi Farms, drew the attention of Kiwi Farms. I don't know what you're thinking. Hey, everyone started digging into it. What's that about? The reality of it is, okay, people are going to speak about stuff that's public, but fundamentally, Tipster is the one that fucking instigated all this by using this Rainbow Passage organization as a baton against Bo Blacks, rather than just nutting up and coming out and saying, Bo Blacks, I don't like the fact that you make mean streams about me. He decided to use this organization as a sort of cudgel of sorts, which then led to all this extra attention on it, you know? And all the drama hounds, like myself, to look at it more, because of course you're like, what the fuck is going on here? Wait, this guy's into pup play and he's an AIDS guy and he's talking about this fucking resettling thing, and there's other messages too. And that's the other thing that was uncovered too, and this is the issue that came into play. Okay, this Animal Smith guy had recently got into some sort of disagreement on B Sky B or whatever it fucking, that app, the app that everyone, the ex Jack Dorsey app, the gay one that everyone talks about, right? And he got into it with a bunch of trans people because the trans people were apparently calling Biden Genocide Joe, and he was getting very angry at them for that and was questioning their transness and was questioning whether they were truly trans or not. So, weird AIDS guy into pup play, okay, having a go at trans people. What thing do you think that Rainbow Passage took an issue with? Yeah, it was quite severe as well. I know you guys are fucking seasoned transphobes, so you probably don't really care about that part of it. But I'm not talking about just a bit of misgenderinio. This guy was like demanding to see their dicks. He was demanding to see their penises on social media. It was kind of crazy. So it was pretty wild stuff. It wasn't just run-of-the-mill transphobia. It was pretty advanced transphobic type comments that were being made. Anyway, very weird shit. Anyway, the inevitable happened, and Rainbow Passage ended up cutting ties. And another aspect to the drama is there was some kind of like discussion and some stuff that came out that revealed that Animal had spoken privately to members of the Rainbow Passage organization, and they'd expressed their kind of like dissatisfaction at the transphobia and stuff. And allegedly, he threw his toys out the pram. He wasn't happy with the way that he was being treated, and he decided to walk away. And that was kind of where we left it last time, more or less. Now, Rainbow Passage has released a statement. And something funny has happened further to that involving Tipster too, okay? So let's have a little look and see what Rainbow Passage had to say, shall we? Here's their statement. Rainbow Passage stands against transphobia. The other funny thing about this charity is they're tiny. They've got like 100 Twitter followers or something like that. They're like a literal megalo organization. They're more so like jokers. They're like Discord fucking wannabes that are trying to do shit which they don't seemingly have the knowledge or ability to. It's kind of just a bit of a meme, really. Like it's like a lol-cow charity or something, I don't know. But they've kind of had to issue this public statement because of all the attention that they've had on their organization recently from myself and others because of Tipster. It's all Tipster's fault. So this is what they had to say. Rainbow Passage stands against transphobia. On behalf of the Rainbow Passage Board of Directors and staff, I want to sincerely apologize to our community and all those we serve for the recent actions of our former director, Joe Animal Smith. I've just remembered there's something funny in part of my coverage, which hasn't gotten much conversation. Not many people have spoken about this. But this Animal J. Smith guy has got a Tumblr account. And on that Tumblr account, he reposts some interesting images, a number of which seem to play into this kink where a guy is like kidnapped and tied up. There's one image in particular I recall where there's a guy tied up in the boot of a car. We joked about it at the time and said, oh, is this how they get them out of their fucking, the red states that are harming them or whatever? But I don't know, man. It's just kind of a bad look to publicly share content which is about a kink of kidnapping and tying up when you're in this position for this gay organization. It just seems like you're kind of asking for trouble. And the thing I've said about this as well is they've had the scrutiny of a bunch of commentary retards, looking at this. I mean, could you imagine how they would cope? Yeah, he's a resettlement director. Yeah, exactly. He's responsible for apparently organizing the resettlement of these people. But could you imagine if Ted Cruz, or who's another like politician that deals with this, Ron DeSantis, imagine fucking Ron DeSantis finding out about this and talking about this publicly. Imagine that level of scrutiny. They wouldn't survive. They'd crumble, right? There's a bunch of commentary retards have spoken a bit about this org and looked into some of the members, and now we've got a fucking public statement. Dude, these guys are not set up for success. They can't even withstand a bit of scrutiny from retards, let alone a fucking right-wing org or something properly looking at this. They tear them to shreds. Fucking insane. Mr. Smith has dedicated many years to his activism, and we want to acknowledge his past contributions to Rainbow Passage, spending decades in the fight against AIDS or HIV discrimination. Ooh. You see, the thing is, for me personally, I think that if the discrimination is, someone that's got AIDS, if I walk past them, I'll get it. Okay, I'm against that, right? I'm against that kind of discrimination. Just because someone has got AIDS doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get it from them, presuming just standard contact. That's been kind of disproven, right? However, from what I've seen and heard, oftentimes when it's discrimination against AIDS or HIV from within a certain community, it is I'll just refer you to the monkeypox tweets. Is that enough to know what I'm talking about? Do you know what I mean? It's yeah, well, we want to be able to attend orgies without question. Right? Do you know what I mean? What do you mean by that? Do you mean discrimination is in you can still get a job even though you got AIDS? Yes, I'm for that. Do you mean discrimination is in we don't want to get told no to the no-turn gangbang orgy? That's a bit different. That's all I'm saying, okay? An avid street activist, an extremely passionate ally. However, we unequivocally condemn the recent transphobic rhetoric and behavior he has directed towards others. It's so funny to me that this is what got him canned officially now. Not anything else, not any of the other shit that was going on, just he was transphobic to some people on the internet. I guess within the org it makes sense because he was dealing with resettlement and you can't be that obnoxious when you're dealing with troubled individuals potentially, right? But dude, it's just kind of funny. This is what they're getting him on. I just want to see the statement where it's we discovered Animal J. Smith's shocking podcast conversation about pup play. And we also could not help but notice repeated reposts on his Tumblr of what we presume are homosexual men tied up in the boots of cars. And we felt this did not best represent his goal as resettlement director of Rainbow Passage. I want to see that statement. That's what I want to see. Orange means I'm ready for anything. Well, no. It was a double color coding. One was ready for anything, and the other one was BDSM, and you're supposed to interpret those together, which is to say, anything goes BDSM, not anything goes full stop. And they've, oh my God, they've got all the language here too. This is brilliant. Rainbow Passage is a safe space for LGBTQ plus individuals, and respect for all genders and sexual identities is a core value of our organization. Mr. Smith's actions directly contradict this value and have caused harm to the very community we strive to support. This is my favorite bit. Let me be clear. They've got all the language down from these kind of statements. Let me be clear. Questioning a person's gender identity or sexual orientation is not only disrespectful, but also a violation of trust. As a queer organization, we hold ourselves to a higher standard and understand the gravity of such actions. Bigotry and prejudice in any form further endanger the lives and well-being of transgender individuals, and Rainbow Passage will not tolerate it. Dude, look, you're going to make me defend Animal J. Smith here, okay? This guy was being an obnoxious prick on social media, okay? And obviously it is insane to have someone that's that fucking short-fused in this organization. I get it. I get the why. But they're describing it like this guy was at a fucking, like, turf march or something like that. Do you know what I mean? It was just being obnoxious and arguing with people on social media. But they're describing it in, like, the worst possible way they can. Oh, the 9/11 roleplay. Yeah, that's the other thing about this guy. Apparently, he was into 9/11 Discord roleplay because he's got trauma from being there on 9/11. And you go into a Discord call, watch the news, and act like it's the first time that you've seen it, basically. Another classic. Okay. We are concerned that Mr. Smith. Oh, we are concerned that Mr. Smith may attempt to contact members of our community to spread negativity towards Rainbow Passage. Huh? Damn. They're really getting ahead of this one, aren't they? Jesus. While we cannot dictate who you communicate with, we urge you to exercise abundant caution if he does reach out. It is important to be mindful of those who may act in bad faith or with malicious intent, particularly towards marginalized groups. Rainbow Passage remains committed to providing a safe and supportive environment for all. We are dedicated to fostering an inclusive atmosphere where everyone feels welcome and respected. Yeah, sure, he's got trauma. Okay, how else do you describe a guy that wants to conduct 9/11 roleplay? It seems pretty obvious to me that he was there and it's fucked up his head. And the way that he deals with it is doing this weird Discord roleplay calls. We understand that regaining your trust takes time, and we are committed to demonstrating our values through our actions. We will continue to provide resources and support the LGBTQ plus community and hold ourselves accountable to the high standards you expect from us. Thank you for your understanding and continued support. Sincerely, Amy Nicole Check, she/her, Chairwoman, Rainbow Passage Board of Directors. Is that the person whose interview we listened to that was fucking retarded? The 9/11 roleplay didn't seem sexual. It just seemed to be reacting to the news like you've seen, like it's the first time that you've seen it. You know. But yeah, that was pretty bad. Anyway, there's another funny part to this which we'll get to now. But there's the statement. There is the statement from River Passage on the departure of one Animal J. Smith. Something funny happened though. Further to this, This is where the tip tank comes in, okay? So, would you believe it? One Nicholas the Oreo responded. You can see there. Can you see that? Now disavow tipster right at the bottom. Which, you know, I respect the hustle. I respect the tipster hustle from Nicholas. Who is tipster? No, no, no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Rainbow Passage responded, we have no association with him, and he has never had any involvement with our organization. Oh my God. They didn't even have to respond. They didn't have to respond, but they did. And they absolutely destroyed Tipster for no reason. Why? Literally just feeding ammunition to commentary people to shit on Tipster further. Oh my God, dude. No way. Completely disavowed. So yeah, Tipster fucking defended this stupid ass charity for no reason. Only ended up causing further attention to them. And now they've disavowed him. But here's the question. Was Tipster truly never involved? Because someone posted a screenshot demonstrating that Tipster was in the Discord server. And they respond. Someone being in our community server where anyone can join is not evidence they were associated with the Rainbow Passage. Tipster has never been associated with us. If he was in your server, then yeah, he did associate with you. Wow, bit of a stretch. Someone being in a community server does not mean they're associated with an organization or work with them. It's just a community server where people hang out. So I don't think this is proof they were associated being in the Discord. It's just funny seeing Rainbow Passage desperately trying to fucking disassociate from Tipster for no real reason. So yeah, for some reason, Rainbow Passage is absolutely obsessed with like completely distancing themselves from Tipster. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're a bit annoyed with Tipster, to be honest with you. Because yeah. What is this? What? I don't even know what this means. I don't know this movie. Who's this? I'm sorry, I don't understand what this movie is. Maybe you guys can make heads. I don't understand what it is. Throw Mama from the train. Ah, right, okay. Got it, okay. Throw Tipster from the train. Okay. I understand. Gotcha. Watch it. I don't really watch old movies. I should watch more of them. Although, do you know what I watched Oppenheimer again. I watched it in IMAX when it first came out, but I watched it on a TV. Not quite the same experience, but still good. But yeah, this for some reason they're just absolutely desperate to disavow Tipster. I misunderstood this though, and I thought that this was Chud only watches Goy Slop Action Ball Drive. He has no time for good movies. Come on. But yeah, they just okay. The best part about the statement is I no one rushed us to look at it. Yes, here I am looking at it. Bro, that's crazy. But if I was Rainbow Passage, I'd be a bit annoyed with Tipster. Because, you know, I'd be like, yeah, dude, why did you bring... You literally brought all this attention onto us because of a personal beef that you had with some commentary guy that was shitting on you. Why? All of this attention that's come, certainly, you know, people looking at it, but it never would have happened if Tipster hadn't kicked up such a fucking stink. Because the thing is, Tipster said, this group is doing good work. And then what's the inevitable question to that? Are they doing good work? Let's look into it. And you look into it and you're like, there's some weird shit happening here. Whereas if he just said nothing, or just not brought them into it, or just said, "Oh yeah, I'm a bit annoyed with Black's doing all these streams on me, these tips to bully streams." Yeah, I just don't think people would have had quite the same response. I mean, I never would have fucking known about this organization if he hadn't specifically mentioned Rainbow Passage. So it just feels like another example where Tipster has unnecessarily said something for his own benefit, which has then backfired. A bunch of attention has been brought to the org, and now they've had to issue a statement on letting go of this guy because of all the fucking controversy that's erupted. And it's probably why they're so keen to disassociate, because there's probably a sense of frustration at what he's done. But yeah, just in case you didn't see it, I did believe that Tipster left the Discord as a result of this happening. However, I was informed that that wasn't the case, and he'd already left the Discord server previously, which I guess kind of makes sense with this message that he left, which was apparently deleted. It's because they're obsessed with me, and because I retweeted the charity, they chose to target it. Anyone I engage with gets attacked. I'm sorry. There's probably some truth to that. But then why would you not change your behavior? Why would you not amend your behavior to not bring in random fucking orgs that probably don't want the attention? It just seems so crazy to me. Like, yeah, he knew, like, if he knew that was going to happen. Yeah, sure. I say, yeah, of course. You know, I think any organization that Tips is involved in, because he hasn't got much discernment, people are probably going to look into it and investigate it. But, like, why bring a small charity into it then? Unnecessarily, because to me at least, it seems so obvious that he did it because he didn't like the fact that Bo Blacks was making all this content about him, you know? It's like he says, and it's funny because when he messaged me to, you know, essentially complain about me covering his Crazed X mod, he says this, I don't mind people making content about me, but, right? And the but in my case was, you know, pointing people to my personal information. And in Bo Black's case, it's, but you're going after a charity that's doing good work. Like it's a reason to complain that is dressed in like, well, it's okay to do it because you're doing a bad thing, you know? But yeah, sure. It was just unnecessary. There's no need for him to do that. He could have made a point about it, you know, alongside that. And the thing is as well is having listened to some of Bo Black's coverage, Bo Blacks didn't say anything that was that insane. All Bo Blacks did is say, "Oh, this is a bit fucking weird," and maybe you could say made some like allusions to maybe more inappropriate behavior than that. But yeah, there we go. There's your tip tent. Yeah, I mean, that video was very eye opening. Oh, also apparently, I was told that I got something wrong when I covered Toastify's video, and it was literally the only criticism that I made. But apparently, at the time, there were people that were talking crazy shit about Tommy C, but a lot of the tweets got deleted or something. About the, you know, Tommy C likes to piss on kids and shit like that. But apparently a lot of the tweets got deleted. So Toastify was right. It's just maybe didn't have the evidence to show this is exactly what was being said. Well, no, I think it was like the blood sports types of people back then that were knocking about. And yeah, apparently Tipster really did a number on Tommy C. Tommy C genuinely liked the guy, and he just totally, you know, turned on it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, sure, you know, Toastify. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, Toastify could have been more clear. But to be honest with you, I mean, the whole video was great. It was just that one fucking thing that I thought was kind of wrong, I guess. But